Hi, what's going on guys? It's Almond. Welcome back to another Wizard101 video. In today's video, we're going to be going over the whole process for myth weaving. Now, of course, I've already uploaded videos talking about previous weaving paths, but I'll eventually go through all of them. Just have to prioritize different content for different stuff on the channel. So now, in today's video, we're going to be talking about specifically myth weaving from start to finish, how to get started. This will answer majority of your questions, and if not, you're more than welcome to put anything in the comments down below. I'm pretty consistent on replying to messages in the comments. But if you do enjoy this type of content, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, all that type of stuff. I appreciate everyone that's been subscribing or even joining the Discord. We are close to 1.3k members in the Discord, and everything I show in this video is in the Discord. So if you want to look at these slides at your own time, definitely I highly recommend that you join Discord. There's plenty of resources in there. Also, I appreciate everyone that leaves comments or even likes the video because it helps out a lot with the algorithm and it helps me get closer to that 5,000 mark. So please do so if you haven't. But let's get into the weaving process and talk about everything that you need to know. Now, is weaving required? To a certain extent, yes, it is required. Now, to unlock weaving, you must have been complete with Dragonspires. That means you have to have killed Malistaire. Now, if you're trying to unlock Celestia, this is something you have to do by default. Just the intro portion though, because you don't have to actually go further on into weaving and everything like that. But you have to do weaving anyways, just the intro to even progress and unlock Celestia now. So you only have to do the first 2 tutorials and turn those in to actually start Celestia. Now, how do I unlock more ranks in weaving? Well, they're actually world-based. So if you complete Dragonspire, you immediately unlock rank 1. Now, if you want to unlock the next part of weaving, you have to complete Celestia to unlock rank 2. And then the next portion after that is you have to complete Zafaria and then you unlock the rank 3 questline. They're going to keep doing this moving forward with the next worlds, so keep that in mind. Now, how do I start the weaving process as a whole? The way that you start is talking to Merle Ambrose in his office. He should have a quest for you talking about Archmastery, so do that, please. If you do not do this quest, you will not be able to do weaving. Make sure you do the entire quest line, even the tutorial about Archmastery. Just follow the tutorial and you'll understand what to do in that fight. Also, some people said that the minion wasn't respawning for them. Reason being is pay attention to what Diego says. He wants you to change your school pip in your deck. So make sure you do that, if not, the minion will not respawn to continue the tutorial. Now, after you finish that whole tutorial, Diego will have another quest for you, talking to Baelstrom, which is the Storm Professor, which you have to do. In that quest line, you're required to go to Marleybone and have to do the pre-quest for Arc 2. It's a requirement for weaving, so you must do this as well. This will consist of 2 separate dungeons that you have to do, very easy, you can just AoE kill them, they're not really that hard. Just remember, if you are in the first dungeon and you're looking for the puzzle piece or the item, it's in the top right corner, so make sure you grab that before you leave. Once you finish both fights, it's going to require you to go talk to the Storm Professor again. Once you talk to the Storm Professor, then he will tell you to go to Krakatopia. This whole questline should lead you to Salinopolis, then you can go to the Blended Grove, see all the trees of course, and then finish the one last tutorial you have to do. In this last tutorial, will teach you about the magic wheel and everything like that, but it's a requirement. You must complete it for weaving. Just read the dialogue on screen and you'll know exactly what to do. Once you finish that, make sure you turn in your quest to Merle Ambrose and you're ready to do the whole weaving process. Let's also go over some other questions that were frequently asked. Can I switch weaving at any time? The answer is yes. You can swap to any weaving path at any time, and if you've already started weaving into a certain school, you can literally switch weaving to another school and all your progress is saved. You will not be reset, your progress will not reset. It keeps all of your stuff, so don't worry if you can switch at any time realistically. How does fusion work? Well, that's a good question. Fusion, I've already uploaded a video on. I've talked about it in multiple videos. Just watch one of the videos. I'm not going to go too far into depth. But basically, the TLDR version is you have to have the 2 trained spells for the formula. And then you have to learn the formula, of course, with the training point. And you can combine them together and create a new card. That's the TLDR version. But if you want to watch an in-depth video, check the video on screen. And then the last question I keep getting asked, which is regarding the lessons, which we will be talking about in this video, of course, is how do I create a group for one of the lesson requirements? Because some people have had issues where they've been in a group and they haven't been able to get progress. The way that you get progress is you have to invite the member that you are helping questing in a adventure party. On screen, I'll show you how to invite them to an adventure party. Essentially, you invite them to a group first, and then at the bottom, it shows, hey, you can invite or create a new adventure party with them. You create a new adventure party. After that, you leave the group you've already created, and then you go back into the adventure party tab and invite them through there, and then you're set. Then you can help them with whatever quest that they need to do, but make sure it's a mainline story quest for that lesson. That doesn't mean help them with side quests. It has to be a mainline story quest, so anything that's like main story. Hopefully that answers all your questions about the frequently asked portion, but let's actually talk about the main portion of this video. So let's go over the rewards for myth weaving. At rank 1, you get the ability to unlock dual school pierce jewels. It will basically be your school as well as myth tied to this jewel. So for rank 2, you get your utility spell. So it'll be your school trap as long as with myth as well attached to it. Bounce gets a unique one where it's just 2 myth traps as well as a convert as well attached to it. And then for rank 3, you get your fusion spells. I don't recommend training these unless you're doing advanced content or specifically doing some PvP strategies. In my opinion, they're not worth learning just for casual PvE unless you're doing some quirkiness. Now keep in mind the rewards depend on your school, and also myth cannot weave into myth. Now let's get into the actual weaving portion. So what you want to do is talk to the old sage and he'll let you know, hey, you can only weave into one school at a time, are you sure, etc. Basically select this because yes, that's the whole point of this video. And he will give you this like small little quest line where you have to go to Selenopolis and go to the marketplace of ideas, interact with some NPCs, and you'll be doing this dungeon. This dungeon consists of fighting Grizzleboard. Now Grizzleboard, just as similar to all the other weaving videos, has his own little unique cheat. He basically will spam you with minus 20% weaknesses every so often at the beginning of the round and then at the end of the round as well. You basically have to use certain myth spells that follow this condition. So if you don't want to pack certain spells, he will just give you a spell after a certain amount of rounds, which will be a Stone Colossus item guard that's specifically Path B. But if you want to speed up the process, if you want to specifically pack a Path B Stone Colossus in your side deck or item card, whatever, or a Path B Myth King art, both those spells work. So you have either the option of waiting for him to give you the card, or pack your own Stone Colossus, or pack your own Myth King art in the side or item card, etc. Because the whole premise of this fight is trying to teach you about myth. Now you won't be allowed to kill him if you don't cast either of those spells. Now because he does give you a card after a certain amount of rounds, it basically is telling you, hey, make sure you use either stone or just use anything that's myth orientated that removes a negative charm. So that's why stone and myth king art work in this fight. After that, you're good to kill him. Even if you use stone classes or myth king art to do the final blow, it still counts as killing him. And that's the basic premise of this fight. It's pretty straightforward. Now he does drop some loot, he does drop some weft yarn. Now as I wanted to state in this specific video and moving forward with the other weaving videos on the channel, don't farm this guy for weft yarn. If you really need weft yarn, there's already a video on the channel and you should do that instead. It will save you a lot more time and it's way more efficient. But I just wanted to include as a side note that he does drop weft yarn. Now after you do that whole process and complete the whole dungeon, you will have to return back to the old sage. And he will basically tell you, hey, let's start your lessons for myth weaving. And this is when we get into the lessons for myth weaving, of course. Now you have to do 3 out of the 5. That doesn't mean you have to do all 5. A lot of people get this confused, but you only have to do 3. So you kind of pick whatever you feel like, and I'll give you guys my opinion as well. Just remember though, for lesson 1, you have to keep in mind that you have to be an adventure party as stated in the early portion of this video. And if you're confused on who is the person on lesson 5, Grizzleboard is the person that we just talked about in this video, the little croc guy that spams weaknesses. So let's go over the lessons of myth weaving for rank 1. Lesson 1 is help party group members with 6 mainline quests from Krokotopia through Celestia. Lesson 2 is catch 2 strawberry jellyfish in Krokotopia. It has to be specifically in Krokotopia, so keep that in mind. No going to someone's house to try to catch this fish. Lesson 3 is defeat Neckbit 7 times. Lesson 4 is defeat 30 ice weavers, and lesson 5 is defeat Grizzleboard 6 times. In my opinion, I highly recommend that you do lesson 3, lesson 4, and lesson 5. That is just my opinion. Now after you complete 3 out of the 5 lessons, you can return back to the old sage and he should give you the badge Novice Mythweaver. And then once you interact with him again, he can give you the next quest line. Just remember, you have to have finished the prerequisites as I stated early in this video. So it gives you the quest All in the Crime Family, where you're going to be helping out the Myth Rat. So this will lead to a bunch of dialogue in Marleybone, and then eventually you'll interact with the Myth Rat and he wants you to help him with this fight. Now this will consist of 2 separate fights and both of them are boss monsters. The whole premise in these fights is you can do damage to these bosses, but you have to make sure you don't get the final blow. You have to let the Myth Rat get the final blow. hence why he pops up the cheat. Do your worst, wizard, but the final blow is mine. Now, if you don't let him get the final blow, you have to restart the fight all over again. So if you want to, carry some feints, some treasure card feints, pawn feints, do whatever you like, help him out. But if you want to, do some damage and just lower him to a certain percentage, and then just hopefully the myth rat will just cast a spell and just kill the boss. That's like the best efficient way to do it. Now, after you finish all that, you'll have to report back to the old sage and you'll start your rank 2 lessons for myth weaving. Just keep in mind, only 3 out of the 5 of the lessons are required. Lesson 1 is help party group members in 6 mainline quests from Marleybone all the way through Safaria. Lesson 2 is catch a royal Gennard in Marleybone. That's a fish, of course, if you didn't know what that is. Lesson 3 is defeat Lockpick O'Leary 7 times, and he's also located in Marleybone. Lesson 4 is defeat 30 Grey Phantoms. Those are located in Marleybone. Just go to Newgate Prison from my experience. And then lesson 5 is join a team up kiosk in Old Town to help 10 teams in Marleybone. Just remember for lesson 5, keep in mind it has to be the team up kiosk in Old Town. Don't use any other one. Don't use like your own house. Don't use the guild house or someone else's. It has to be specifically the kiosk in Old Town. I've had people bug it out multiple times, so that's why I'm letting you know this right now. Now, my recommendations for the lessons is doing lesson 3, lesson 4, and lesson 5. That was the most efficient for me, and that's just my opinion, but you can do any lessons at your own risk. Now, once you finish 3 out of the 5 lessons, you will report back to the old sage, and he will give you the apprentice mythweaver badge. Now we can start the rank 3 quest line where you talk to the old sage and you have to do this whole polymorph fight. Every weaving fight has their own variation of their polymorph. So for this one, you'll be playing as the myth rat in these fights. You have to go to the halls of Toiret, and at the end of the dungeon, you'll be fighting Marquis Mark II. Now there's some things I want to know about this whole dungeon when you're playing as the myth rat. In these fights, you will be polymorphed, so you will have a set deck. You can't change your deck or anything like that. It will be a mix of your school, so whatever school you are, and myth. So for example, I was a fire and I got a deck that was mixed with fire and myth. Now there will be 3 separate fights in this dungeon, so keep that in mind as well. Now other wizards can join you on the sigil, so if you want people to help you, they can help you, but they have to be at the same portion of the weaving portion as you. So if someone's not even rank 3 in myth weaving, they can't join you. So they can join you literally on the sigil outside. They can't teleport inside, so don't try to cheese it. And just remember, myth cannot do this fight at all because myth cannot weave into myth. So just do your best to try to learn the deck and power through the entire dungeon. Also, make sure you set your school pip to the school that you are currently. So for example, I was fire. I set my school pip to fire in this whole polymorph fight. You can do some cheese as well. I do want to preface that is by using your own decathlon pet. Now we use the term decathlon pet loosely because this is what we use every time in decathlon. It's just a pet that has frozen kraken with a bunch of heal. Highly recommend that you do so you don't have to worry about healing, as well as you can use frozen kraken to speed up the fight a lot. Whenever I upload the solo video, and you guys might see some footage in the background, but frozen kraken just makes the fight drastically easier. I've prefaced this in all my weaving videos. Just using frozen kraken will be quite efficient in finishing your weaving. You don't really need the heals realistically, but frozen kraken is what's carrying you the entire time. Also on my pet, I sock it on D-Lance just because there's this off chance it does cast and it gives me another buff. I also have a jewel socketed on my Thane. You don't have to do this. It's very niche, but when it does cast, it gives me an extra damage for my outgoing fire damage. You can basically socket this on any triangle socket on your setup, and there's a chance of it casting in the fight. So you guys might see that here and there in my soloing video as well as some portion in this video. Also, when you get to the end, when it comes to fighting Marquis Mark II, he does have a chance at dropping a gold Beast Moon idol. Just as I stated in my other videos, every variation of these polymorph fights have a Beast Moon idol at the end. So if you want to get yourself a Mythrat gold idol to unlock the form for Beast Moon, you can definitely farm this entire dungeon and just farm Marquis Mark II over and over. Keep in mind though, it's a rare chance of dropping, but hey, you can still get lucky and get this. Even I have gotten this in the past. Now once you complete that whole dungeon, you have to return back to the old sage, and he will give you rank 3 lessons for myth weaving. Let's go over the lessons for rank 3. Lesson 1 is help group members with 6 mainline quests from Mushu through Avalon. Lesson 2 is catch 6 mullet fish in Mushu. Just remember, specifically Mushu, don't go to someone else's house. Lesson 3 is defeat Kyoto 7 times. Lesson 4 is defeat 30 dishonored samurai in Mushu. And then lesson 5 is defeat Marquis Mark II again. Now if you don't know who Marquis Mark II is, it's the person that we just talked about like 2 minutes ago with the whole polymorph dungeon, so there's that. But my recommendation is do lesson 3, lesson 4, and lesson 5. If you don't want to defeat Marquise Mark II, you're more than welcome to do lesson 1 or lesson 2, but I always prefer doing lesson 3, lesson 4, and lesson 5. Now once you finish 3 out of the 5 lessons, you can report back to the old sage and you'll get the badge initiate myth weaver. And that is it. That's all there is to it currently for weaving, specifically for all of them. Realistically, you can only get up to rank 3 currently. Now every year we will be getting 1 additional rank, so whenever that happens I will make a new video covering the new rank. But hopefully this video gave a little bit more insight, and if you want to see these slides, they will be all in the Discord. I also will be posting a solo video the following day, so if you want to see how the polymorph fight went and how I soloed it, I will be posting that video the next day. I appreciate everyone that watches all the weaving videos. I do put a lot of effort in these because I want to make sure all the information is kind of precise, and I go in depth for all those new players coming back to Wiz. And personally, I'm more of a visual learner, so that's why I like doing these slides and I like doing these types of videos. If you're confused at anything at all in this video, let me know in the comments down below, but more likely you're more than welcome to ping me in the Discord. There's plenty of people that will also respond to you as well. Remember, the slides are in the Discord, so if you want to just look at those, you're more than welcome to as well. Now I eventually will be uploading all the other weaving videos, but keep in mind they take a little bit longer than my traditional videos, so bear with me if I'm a little bit slow on uploading all the weaving video. But yeah, make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe, all type of stuff. Leave a comment, it does help out with the algorithm, or just even leaving a like on the video too. That does help out quite a lot. And just remember, as stated, join the Discord. We're on the rise to 1.3k members. I eventually want to have 2,000 members in the Discord, and hopefully we can make that dream come true. But that is it for me, and hopefully we can get to 5k by the end of the year. So I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace out, guys.